Hey, it's Justin Prime. This week I'll be talking briefly about getting to work, and then I'll be taking the Artist Inventory Challenge where I hold myself accountable for the week. Plus, I'll discuss a tool I'm using, someone I follow, someone who follows me, and we'll learn what the Lab 5 weekly challenge is. Welcome to the Jprimecast. Did you happen to notice the end of the intro there, Debuters? That's, I think, edition 4. Benjo Beats sent me a new edition, basically the same, but right at the end, it has a different little finish. And I can't decide. I like this week's and I like last week's version as well. So I let him know between the two, we got a winner here. But Benjo Beats, make sure you are finding him on SoundCloud. I'll put a link in the description if you can see it. But he's just obviously incredible. And as we do every episode, let's take a look at who I'm talking to. This is kind of who I dedicate the show to. It's the last person on my Instagram feed. And that person is people I talk to on a regular basis, so we're going to skip them. All right. Sorry, guys. Abraxas Sketchbook. Let's take a look at Abraxas here. This is someone I recently went into his gallery and liked a bunch of stuff, and then he returned the favor and gave me a follow. Thank you for that, Abraxas. He's a very, very talented artist. Definitely worth taking a look at. But hey, thanks for showing up in my newsfeed. Your stuff is pretty damn incredible. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, this is great stuff. Yeah, thank you for showing up in my newsfeed. This is for you, man. So I want to talk real quick about kind of where I'm at, and I don't have a specific topic that I want to go into in depth here, and there's a reason for that, and it's time for me to get to work. Recently, if you listened last week, you know that I caught up on a couple of other projects, and kind of in preparation to kind of clear my mind, to kind of declutter my project list in preparation for getting issue 3 really underway. And I'm still in that mode, but really I'm feeling it tonight as I record this, like it's really time to get to work. I'm so really excited about finally being able to do issue 3. Like I feel like I'm there, and I'll talk about that in more detail later on. But really, it's time for me to get to work. I'm still doing a little bit of fat trimming, but overall, it's time to go. So that's just kind of where I'm at. And so I think when it came time to think about what to talk to you about this week before I get into the Artist Inventory Challenge, I realized, you know what, like it's just it's just time to work. So that means I didn't really want to like outline and plan out a topic. It was just take away time from everything else. So I kind of skipping that this week, but also kind of explaining why. So yeah, I'm really excited. I feel this like creative anticipation building up inside of me, and it's screaming at me to let it the fuck out. The Artist Inventory Challenge. This is my look back on the week to see how I did and didn't do, what went right, what went wrong. It's taking my personal artistic inventory. So my major goals for myself are I would like to eventually do something in mentorship with beginning and amateur artists, just like kind of where I'm at right now. And also community building is also a big goal of mine right now. So my projects are Sculpture Stories issue 3. That's been the main focus, and that kind of took over as my main project. And Astropig book 1, that one has been put on the shelf. I didn't touch it at all this week. That's what she said. That was kind of weak. But and then community building is my third project. So fundamentals has been removed as a focus project, even though it is something that I will continue to do. and will probably pop up in the Lab 5 weekly challenges as we move forward. But it's not something I'm actively setting aside time for and practicing each week, each day, whatever. So Skulldieer Stories issue 3, that's really the project right now. And then the community building aspect through, well, obviously the social media, but also in the Discord community, the Jprimecast community. So those are my projects. So what went wrong, or what were my obstacles this week? The obstacles were, there were some real life obstacles and some personal, maybe even make believe obstacles. So the first one is I mentioned before, loose ends and tying up loose ends. Like last week, I had done a strawberry for my wife. I mean, an illustration. I had done, what else was it? Oh, the portrait for Benjo Beats. These aren't things I had to do. It was things that I wanted to do because I had kind of put off on, doing them. So I was just tying up loose ends before I get really kind of rolling on issue 3. So this week, actually today, I started preparing all of my excess prints and merchandise for sale because they're just sitting around and it's bugging the shit out of me. So it's not a real obstacle. It's something that I chose to take on, and so it's not, to me. I call it, like I said, I'm calling it like a make believe obstacle. It's something I put on myself, and I think with that, as I prepare to really go into the big project of issue 3, that I'm still tying up these loose ends, and this has been a loose end for quite a long time. So I spent the afternoon on it. Actually, it was weird because it's Sunday, and usually Sundays it's family time. I'm doing stuff with the kids, but they were kind of doing okay on their own. My wife was making dinner, so I snuck out into the office here, and I did a lot of work on preparing. Actually, I involved my daughter to also. I gave her a couple bucks for helping out. So that was, it's a loose end, but that's just me doing it, just by choice. It's an obstacle. Other thing is a real obstacle here was time, and not time because I have too many projects. That's not it. Well, it is it, but not in this case. It's time because just, it's legitimately, time has been pretty thin recently. There's been a lot of family stuff going on with my immediate family, my 2 kids, my wife. Yesterday, actually on Friday, usually Friday nights are a perfect night for me to get a lot of shit done and stay up late. So on Friday night, I did an interview with Newton Lilavois of Dream Fury Comics, which went really well, and I will have that uploaded soon. And typically I would finish the interview and I would edit it and upload it right away, or get to work on something else. But my wife was still awake, and usually she's asleep by then, and she was downstairs watching TV, so I hung out with her. It was nice, it was fun, but we hadn't really hung out in a while, and just kind of watched TV and hung out and talked together. So I chose to do that, and you got to put the time in all areas of your life. So I didn't want to neglect that and miss an opportunity because usually she's asleep pretty early. So that was Friday, and then Saturday we took a 2-hour drive to this place in the middle of nowhere, and did this thing where you light a paper lantern and set it, it flies away. It doesn't fly. It doesn't fly. You let it loose and it floats up into the sky, right? Like from my only reference for this is Rapunzel? No, Tangled from Disney. I know there's obviously cultural aspects to the paper lanterns, but my only actual reference is Tangled. That's pretty sad. So we did that on Saturday. That was an all-day event. It was a long drive. You get there early, you hang out for like 4 hours, and listen to shitty music, and then you do the damn lantern thing, which goes by really quickly, and then you try and get out of there, which takes forever, and then drive 2 hours home. And by the time I got home, it was midnight, and I was falling asleep on the road basically. So my night was done. And Saturday nights are a big, big night for me to produce. And then Sunday rolls around. Saturday morning, I didn't do anything just because I was preparing to leave for the day and taking care of the kids. And then Sunday rolls around, and today I actually it's weird. I had a chunk of time, and I spent it preparing the merchandise. Yeah, that was weird. But today I did shopping with the kids. Went out as a family, got ice cream, went to Costco, all that family dad stuff. And then throughout the rest of the week, it was, I'm busy. I have a career. I was pretty busy there. The other weird thing that happened this week was, as far as time goes, was I had a sick day on Thursday. I wasn't fully sick, but I was like kind of just, I think, exhausted, and I don't think I would have functioned very well at work, especially with what I do. So I thought it best to stay home and rest so that I could go to work the next day. And that actually really helped. I'm glad I did, because I was able to go to work the next day. But I had the entire day off, and I didn't do anything. I didn't produce. I chose to give myself the day off. Like, if I'm staying home from work, I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna make the most of my time as I can as far as taking care of myself. And I think that was a really good idea, because before this, I've been doing a lot of like 5-hour sleep nights, and I know I need more, especially on a regular basis. But I've been getting a lot of nights of like 5, maybe 6 hours of sleep. So I've been productive, but I haven't been taking care of myself very well. So I took that day to take care of myself, and I just watched TV all day, which it was actually pretty nice. I would have loved to have, let me move my mic here. I would have loved to have actually played video games, and I wanted to play Elder Scrolls. I miss playing that game, Skyrim. But I'm not going to be playing games again for a long time, so it didn't make sense to start it up just to not go back to it for a while. So I watched Narcos. I finished that off because I've been watching that in bits and spurts here and there, pretty much as I take a dump, and that's it. But I was able to watch a whole chunk of it and finish it. It's a really good series. And then I started season 2 of Jessica Jones, which is also pretty solid so far. So I gave myself a day off, and it was nice. I'm glad I did. So those were the obstacles. There was some make-believe obstacles where I chose to do the thing, and then some real obstacles where just obligations, responsibilities, and I want to be a good dad, and I want to be a good worker, so I got to put those things first, obviously. And then taking care of myself, that's important. So with Skulldieer Stories 3, sorry, I'm moving my mic here again. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but I'm not doing another take. Issue 3 of Skulldieer Stories, the design elements were not ready. That was something I talked about last week. So I didn't get to move forward on the actual production of the book, just because the design elements, like the weapon, were not ready. And what else? I think that was it. The weapon. I think that was the biggest thing. And then the landscape, I'm not fully done with yet. And then Astro Pig, that's on the shelf right now. Community building, I have dropped JP Reads entirely. I think I announced that a while ago. And so I'm not doing those anymore, at least for now. I mean, I don't know when I would bring that back, because it was kind of fun, but I think it kind of ran its course. So I dropped that, and then so I deleted it from my my Anchor profile of the podcast. So I deleted that entirely, and my views, God damn, what do you call it? My listens and my downloads took a hit. It dropped significantly. So the JP Reads were actually pretty popular. They had the most listens, but that doesn't tell me really who's actually interested in my other content like this. So the overall hits took a hit, but now I know my numbers more accurately, and that's more important to me than just getting a bunch of listens through just stuff that's really only there for entertainment value. The JP reads they still exist on my YouTube channel though, because it has the visual to go along with it, but it's done on the podcast. And then also another for the community building, another obstacle is the name of the podcast. I'm thinking about changing it, and actually I'm pretty damn sure I will. And I think I might actually have the name planned out already. Actually, I'm thinking about calling it Create Comics Independently. Hold on, sorry, there's more to it than that. And I'll explain the reason for this. I was thinking about calling it Create Comics Independently. I don't know why I started reading that. I wasn't ready still. All right. Create comics independently, support, challenge, and grow. Or support, challenge, and growth. I'm not sure which one. But it's obviously way more on the nose. Jprimecast is good because people who follow me on Instagram will know right away. But I want to attract new listeners and not necessarily people that follow me on Instagram. I want people who are looking up independent comic books or comic creation on iTunes. I want them to be able to find my podcast, and having it say Jprimecast does not do that. And reading Jprimecast, if you're looking at me versus other podcasts, it doesn't tell you anything about what it's about. So I have done some research, and there was some recommendations that you be very, very specific about your podcast name and give people an idea of what it's going to be about. So that's what I'm leaning toward, is just being very blatant and smacking people over the head and saying, create comics independently. That's what the whole podcast is really about. This series right here, the Jprimecast series, and I think I'll name it that. Still leave it that name. And this is episode 8, by the way. This is all about me and my process of creating comics. And then I interview people about creating comics, and that's something I want to do more of. And then I have the Artist Inventory Challenge, which is also something I want to do more of. So really, it's creating comics independently. So that's why not name it that? Create comics independently. Yeah, the more I say it, the more I'm liking it. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm still debating the title, but I'm kind of liking that one. So the successes for Skulldieer Stories, I have a design element, or I have a design for the projectile weapon. So I thought it was going to be a gun, and I kept saying gun. And what I was getting stuck on was I didn't want the gun or the projectile weapon to be something that was like obviously a gun, because the book takes place well into the future and involves alien technology. So it should not look like a gun that we use now. And all the concept art you see, not all, but the concept, if you type in gun sci-fi or gun concept, they show you images of guns that just look futuristic. So what I did this week, right off the bat, I think on Monday this past week, I met my goal of designing a gun, and it was a pistol with blue lights on it, basically. It was just a very generic, standard, future-looking sci-fi pistol. And it was fine, and I did that because I just wanted to get the damn thing done so I can move forward. I didn't want to have another week go by where I didn't have anything to use. So on Monday, I just got something pumped out that I was content with, and I knew there was time to change it if I needed to change it. So I got something out, and it was like, all right, cool, now I can move forward. And I couldn't move forward mentally until I had that done. So I just got something done. And then what happened was I showed it on Instagram, I think, and I showed it to a friend of mine who is really good with this kind of thing, and he kind of works on this stuff as part of his career. So he's really just an incredible resource for me. And I told him, like, here it is. It is what it is. I got to move forward. And he's like, well, if you're not happy with it, what you should do is do a 2-minute shape sketch. Just bust out as many shapes as you can, 2 minutes each, that you might develop further into, a design, like a weapon design. And that's what I had done for Astropig a few weeks back. I had done some shapes and then kind of made them into creature designs. So this was a skill I already had in my mind. I don't know why I didn't use it for the weapon, but he said that, and I'm like, oh yeah, so it clicked right away. And so I think on like Wednesday, yeah, I think on Wednesday I already knew the shape. That's the really funny thing, was that I knew the shape of this way more abstract weapon. I knew the shape in my head, but I didn't know actually what it looked like beyond the shape, and maybe a very vague idea of how it works. Not how it works, but how it moves more. Yeah, how it moves. So I was like, oh, obviously that his recommendation was perfect and it fit in right where I was kind of stuck at. So I busted out the shape, and the shape is what I was thinking at the time was there's going to be like Akuma's necklace, the prayer beads, I think they are. Akuma with the huge balls on his around his neck. Um, yeah, I laugh at that shit. I'm not very mature. So that was in my mind, was that my characters, the twins, were going to have these prayer beads, like these large prayer beads that would act as a weapon. So they would sit on their shoulders or around their neck, and then when they're activated, which is by thought, they would circle around to my character's wrist and act, and they would like shoot, projectile, like not lasers, but like, I don't know, hot plasma shit or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what you call it, but it'd be like blue shit. So I knew that, and so I sketched that out, and just the shape of it, and it was like 6 to 8 circles in a all connected by one large or by one other thin circle, if that makes sense. You can look at my Instagram. Actually, I don't think I showed it on Instagram yet. Have I? Let me look right now. But that was the idea, and I put it down, and then once I had the shapes down, and God, Sean Calloway is so good. I'm looking. Sorry, it was the first thing I saw. He's so good. Uh, oh, I haven't showed it on Instagram. Holy shit! So once I showed it on Discord with the community. That was it. Wow. So I got the shapes down, and then I could start imagining what they actually look like, and it's just balls. I mean, so that was pretty simple. But then I gave the I gave the balls the color, and then I gave them an opening to shoot from, and that opening turned into an X, which I thought was cooler than just a circle. And then as I kept working on it, I drew the prayer beads onto my characters, and it didn't look good to me at all. And I thought, if I'm going to do it this way, I'm going to have to really kind of redesign the character to give them a different visual balance. And I thought, I don't want to move my characters visually too far from where they're at, because I was really happy with where they were at. So I've and it's funny, as people, they saw the weapon, and that it would live, not live on the wrist, but it would hover around the wrist and act as a weapon that kind of hovered around the wrist. Hopefully that makes sense. And they said, so what is it, like a bracelet? And I'm like, no, it's not a bracelet. My character's not wearing bracelets. But what ended up happening is exactly that. So I put these large balls on their wrists. I can't get through this. I can't get through this. I'll call them beads. Beads, sorry. I put these large beads on their wrist, and that didn't look right either, but I knew that's kind of where they belonged. So I just made them smaller, to be like more of a smaller bead size. And so now my characters have these, I call them war beads, because they're extremely destructive. So they have these war beads that live on the wrist, and each bead, there's like 8 of them, I think, 6 to 8 of them, has an X on it, and the X is where they shoot from, and the X's color will match their insignia color on their helmet, which is black, turned off or dead or unconscious, blue for calm, red for a threat. So there'll be a visual tie-in, they'll light up, and then when the character activates them, they'll kind of hover around the wrist. They'll, so I think it'll be a really cool moment that'll be in the comic to see that come to life and to see these really kind of benign prayer beads on the wrist, to see what kind of destructive power they have. So I showed this to my friend who, I mentioned earlier, and he's like, oh, these are cool. And he went off on it. He's like, they could do this and they could do that. And lots of really cool ideas, just lots of brainstorming between him and I, mostly from it just poured out of him. It was pretty neat to talk to him and get all those ideas. So the prayer beads then, or the war beads, have a few different functions, a few different firing modes. I'm most excited about the chain gun mode, where they spin around the wrist and just unleash all of these projectiles. So each twin will have their own set of war beads, and the way the twins fight is these things will interact. And actually, I might not go that far. I don't think I'll be showing all their functions in this issue, because it's just too much. So what I've actually done, it's just too much. I mean, at some point they really are overpowered. So far I've limited them to, I think, 3 modes. I think that's probably enough. 3. I don't want it. You can't go too overpowered, So anyhow, that was the success for Skulldieer Stories. Was I designed a gun, just to kind of get it out of my head and onto paper or onto the tablet. And that helped me move forward in redesigning it into a whole new different way. And it's really where I wanted to go, which is a very much more abstract alien type of weapon that you wouldn't instantly recognize as a weapon. So that was perfect. And I'm really happy with where it's at, where it's going, and how it's influencing my script. So that brings me to the script. That is another success. The script is done for the most part. It's all written. It went a little bit long. I think it went to 28 pages, and I'm okay with that. I don't mind a slightly longer book, and I won't charge people more for that. It went. So the script is done, and now that I have the war beads, I actually went back and tweaked the script a little bit more this week, and I've thought about it since the past couple of days, and I'm probably going to be doing a little bit more edits. So I might actually get it back down to 24 where it should be, but if not, I'm fine with that. So lots of editing on the script, but overall, I'm really, really happy with it and where it's at and where it's going. Astro Pig, there's no successes for that. I feel kind of bad. I missed the little guy. Maybe this week I'll do just to have another project that I don't need to do that will take me away from my actual project. Maybe I'll do a little sketch of Astro Pig just to keep him in people's hearts and minds. And for the community building, the win here is I dropped JP Reads. It's a time thing, saves me time, but it also gives me a clearer look at my audience numbers and how many listens I'm getting per episode that are legitimately listens. The other community building win, again, for the podcast is I've decided that I need to be a little more organized. If you look back through my episodes, there's all these different types of episodes. I have 2-minute answers. I have this one. I have reflections. I have pivotal moments. I have interviews, and actually a few others. I had at JP Reads. That's gone now. So I want to be more focused with this. Interviews are important to me. The Jprimecast weekly episode, this one, that's important to me. And those are the heart of what I really want to keep. I've been talking with someone about doing a co-host kind of thing. And I think it'll be a lot of fun for us and valuable for the listeners. So that might be a staple as well, maybe on a bi-weekly level or rate or frequency. If the stuff I do, I want to keep it. I like the mini casts, but it really is kind of all over the place. So I think it's just time for me to, and this goes along with changing the name. Like it's time to kind of be a little bit more professional about it. I think I went way hard on the creative aspect of the podcast, but I haven't gone very hard on the statistical math side of things. And I think this is what Gary Vee talks about when he says creative versus math. I think it's finally making sense to me. So I think I'm just at a point where I want to take the math side of things more seriously and hopefully get to a broader audience. By the way, if you want to help out with that, leave me a review on iTunes. Apparently, iTunes is pretty big for podcasts. Leave me a review and a rating. Like, and be honest, I'm not asking for what is it, like 5 stars or whatever. Like, to be honest, leave me feedback, good or bad. You're not going to hurt my feelings, but getting those ratings actually helps out with your visibility, apparently. So that'd be cool if you want to help out. And so now let's take a look at the goals for the week. Talking about all this stuff is great, but I got to build on it. So the goals for the week are to decide on a new name for the podcast. And I think I already have it, like I was saying before. I think I have it. I'm going to give that a night to think it over, and I'll probably have an answer tomorrow. But having a new name for the podcast, it's time. Final tweaks on the script. That needs to be done probably tomorrow. Honestly, I can bust that out pretty quickly at work during a break or something. Maybe even tonight. Maybe. Other goal so that's 2. Goal 3 for the week is to do my layouts per page. I want all my pages to be laid out and to know what my flow is going to be. This is of course subject to change as I start to actually draw, but I want to get the layouts at least. And I'm going to have another goal here as well, which is to reach out to one pro for an interview. And the angle would be here what they're doing on an independent level or how they got to being a pro. And, but I want the focus to be more about beginners and independents and amateurs and stuff like I am. So, and this is a goal for mine because I know, because it's like I get nervous at reaching out to people for interviews. I get kind of like up in my head, so, but I know it's a place that I want to go, and a challenge that I want to tackle is talking to professionals. And I've already talked to a couple. Like, I can do this. I don't know why I'm so up in my head about it, but it's time to do it. So that's goal number 4. I think that's it. Those are my minimum. I believe that the layouts and the script will be done within a day or 2. So probably by Tuesday. So I anticipate that I will be starting to actually draw panels by this week. And then it's fucking game over. So I'm going to destroy everybody. That is the artist inventory challenge for the week. Thanks for listening to that. Let's move on. Tool recommendation. I use something called Repost. This is an app that I think everyone should have, especially if you have a creator-owned thing. It's called Repost. It just reposts what people post on their Instagram pages. So when someone does fan art for me, or not for me, but if someone does fan art of my characters, I can look at their post and then tap on the 3 dot to the top right, and then it says copy link. And then when you say copy link, Repost the app gives you a notice saying that it's got a link that's ready to be reposted. And then you go into the app and it reposts it. It's really simple. And it can actually tell you what you've copied, like what links you've copied, but maybe you forgot to repost or whatever. So I'm looking at mine right now and I actually have a couple I have not reposted that I need to get onto. So if you have a creator-owned character and people are doing fan art, or you hope they'll do fan art, it's a really good, simple app just to repost. And what's cool is it allows you to keep the fans' original wording. When you repost it, you just copy and paste you just paste. So it copies it automatically. So you just paste what Yeah, you just paste what you've already copied, and it keeps their original wording and hashtags and everything. Yeah, it's a really easy. It's a free app. Besides the ads, it's very much worth your free install on it. Abraxas Sketchbook. You might be wondering, Justin Prime, who do you follow and who follows you that you might want to call out? Well, I do this every week, so I have an answer for you. Who I follow, and I don't know if this is the right way to pronounce his name. It's a French fellow, I believe from France. His name is Sylvain Repos. It's SYLVAINREPOS. It's all one word. I recently did a little shout out to him on my Instagram stories, and I saved that. I favorited that into my hashtag must follow. I guess album. I don't know, the story albums. Oh, highlight my must follow highlights. So you can find him through my Instagram there, but or in my description down below if you can see that. But this dude is unbelievable, and he's severely. Oh, I also did. I think I did. I pushed him at a hashtag underfollowed. It might have been that one, but he is severely underfollowed. He is incredible. He's doing this. He's doing this indie comic, and it's called Yojimbot. It's a samurai robot. It's fucking cool. It's so cool. And he's developing right now. Or actually, he's making the panels. He's actually doing the work. It's I think black and white so far. And in black and white works. It looks phenomenal. He doesn't speak much English. I reached out to him to interview him, and he does not speak English very well at all. And if you look at his descriptions or his comments in each post, he pretty much says nothing. The only thing he does say is work in fucking progress, and that's it. Work in fucking progress. I think it's word for word what he says. And then he has a bunch of hashtags, and that's it. He doesn't really say much else. So he's a very quiet guy from France, being all French and being just a ridiculously good artist. You got to follow him, everybody that's listening. He's cool. He's one of those, it's like I discovered a band before they sold out, and got all mainstream. So this guy is just severely underfollowed and absolutely a hashtag must follow. You cannot follow my audio hashtag. It. Don't try. But type in hashtag. Actually, don't. Never mind. Don't worry about that. So who's following me? This is a dude who's been following me for quite a while. It's Grocery Store Ninja. Grocery Store Ninja is, again, one of those really supportive, very involved followers. I'm lucky to have him and following me. Like, it's, he's a fan. He's bought some artwork from me. He was very supportive during my lunchtime request run. I think he on the original run, and I want to say he popped up in the second run, which was more recent. But he would do requests pretty frequently. He's a fan of the Beast, Marvel's Beast, which I don't think a lot of people are, but he's a Beast fan. I did one sketch of Beast that I gave to him when he bought some stuff from me. He's super supportive. He's been involved, leaving comments, doing lunchtime requests, and then I also had done. Some of you might remember, probably not. This is a while ago. This is like 5 years ago, maybe. I did. I had noticed that Hulk never has any nipples, pretty much anywhere. Like if you look at toys or even in panels, like in comics, like people don't draw them or make him with nipples very often. So that was a big deal to me, years ago. And every time I would see a toy with him without nipples, I would post it. And then people started DMing me stuff that they would find, like in panels or in toys or on balloons or whatever. And Grocery Store Ninja was one of those people. He sent me a couple of finds of his of No Nipples Hulk. So, yeah. Must follow Sylvain Repost and Grocery Store Ninja. Thank you for being such a wonderful follower, man. It really means a lot to me. Last week's challenge was really fun. We had to draw our original our original character interacting with another original character in a social situation. I did org interacting with Dead Lily from Black Fly Press. There was a couple of very epic pieces involving multiple original characters from Luke himself and also from at Beacon Comics. Follow them, check out what they did. Pretty damn epic shit. They set the bar very high. Let's take a listen as to what Luke has for us this week.
G'day, Jprimecast community. Luke here again with another weekly challenge. So this week, we're just looking at keeping it simple with just an image that you've worked on recently or an image you plan on working on. Show your steps, record your steps and put them on social media, whether it's through Discord or Instagram or both. You can use the slide function on Instagram if you want to show them in order. Mention any challenges that you've faced. And ask for any feedback from anyone in the community and see what you get. And that's about it. We're not going to run a hashtag now because I think we all pretty much follow each other on Instagram or see each other's Discords. Yeah, keep it to your projects, but share your process and see if you can get some feedback. That's it. Till next time.
Luke, challenge accepted. That's a really good challenge because it doesn't involve us doing something brand new. So whatever you're working on already, just share it. It's such a great exercise, such a great way to build a community for yourself. So Luke, thank you very much for that. Getting feedback can be difficult, but it can also be a really, really good way to build your confidence level and your skill. So there's really, if you're listening to this, there's no excuse for you not to do this. If you're in my Discord community, you really have no excuse not to do this. I expect to see every single one of you doing this, and I can't wait to see it. Thank you, Luke. Challenge fucking accepted. If you're still listening, you definitely belong in the Jprimecast community. Although the name of that might change too, but for now it's the Jprimecast community. It's by invite only, and I have no idea who you are because I'm talking to my computer right now, and I don't know who's listening. So DM me or email me, justinprime@yahoo.com, and let me know you want in. It's an app called Discord. You could also use it on desktop. It's really easy to use, but what's great is that you can connect with me and my community, and it's a lot of engagement there. We have lots of solid feedback to people, encouragement, support, no judgment whatsoever, lots of jokes. It's a great community. I designed it with beginners in mind, just like you, just like me. It's a ton of fun, no cost at all, just good times. So yeah, for real, like if you're listening, you belong in the community. It's for people that are beginning, amateurs, or whatever, and want to like improve. Like that's the other part is if you want to improve, like you belong. You just belong there. So hit me up. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening.
I would have waited an eternity for this. It's over, Prime.